good morning. You're very welcome to your online yoga, chair yoga class for this week, and hope you're keeping well. So what you'll need for your class this morning is you need a chair, and whatever kind of chair is comfortable for you to sit on, as long as you have access to the sides. So you don't want to be sitting in an armchair or anything that's not supportive enough, or anything that might restrict your arm movement later on. I have my feet elevated on a couple of blocks here because my feet don't touch the floor. You could use some books, or if you have a bolster, and you need that little bit of elevation from the floor as well, so that your feet are supported. Just take a moment to pop something underneath, and we're also going to use, possibly later on as well, the yoga belt, or if you have something like a neck scarf or a necktie. The belt of dressing gown, anything like that will do the job for you. And you just want to make sure that you're nice and comfortable. You want to make sure that you're in a room that's warm enough so that you don't get a little bit chilly later on, because the class that we're going to do this morning is the Parimutasana, the joint releasing series. And I'm just going to check out here. Something flashed up on the screen, so I just want to see that everything seems to be okay. And so just for that particular sequence, the movement is a little bit slower and more mindful, and it's lots of stretching involved, but you just are more likely to be a bit cooler. So make sure that you're nice and warm as we go through. So we'll start first of all with a couple of minutes of just a nice grounding meditation to settle ourselves into the space, to come out of the busyness of day or the morning, whatever time you might be watching this, and to just gather ourselves a little bit before we start to move. So you might like to close your eyes if it's comfortable for you to do so, and if you prefer not to have the eyes closed, you have the option to just choose a point on the floor, the wall in front of you, and have a nice soft gaze at that point. So a drishti, focal point, where you can really narrow your focus, narrow your gaze, and just allow yourself to tune inwards a little more. And that's what we're going to take us time for the next few minutes to tune in. So taking a moment to allow the body to settle. Allow your chair and any supports that you might be using to fully take your weight. And allow the structural body, the skeletal body in the chair, gravity, the supports to do the work to hold you. While you start to allow the rest of your muscular body, perhaps the mind, to start to soften a little, to melt a little, away from activity and towards stillness. So just ensuring that you're nice and firmly supported at the base, so your bum is nice and comfortable. Maybe if you need, it helps to release the flesh around the sit bones to feel a little bit more connected, a little bit more grounded. Just checking that your spine is nice and long and that the back of the body is nicely supported, so you can sit straight or very slightly back rather than leaning forwards, and allow that lovely openness across the heart space, the distance between the shoulders to find its way in. Relax your jaw, soften your mouth, your lips, your tongue. Relaxing the forehead, space between the eyebrows. And allowing the temples to melt outwards towards the tips of the ears. Allowing softening in the scalp. Relaxing in the neck, the shoulders, the arms. Letting the hands rest. You might choose to bring the thumb and index finger and either hand into mudra, where the thumb and index fingers connect. Releasing the palms either facing up or facing down onto your lap, whichever is more comfortable. And if you prefer just to have the hands resting on your way, it's absolutely fine too. Notice where your back is making contact with the back of the chair. Notice the support here and allow the back to rest fully into that support, to trust into it. Notice where your bum, your hips, the backs of your thighs are supported by the chair. And again, allow yourself to release fully to that support. Allowing the feet to rest down, soles of the feet connecting with the blocks or the bolster or the floor, whatever you might be supported by. Maybe just one at a time, pressing the toes into that support. Maybe lift, spread the toes and press them down. Pressing through the balls of the feet and the heels. You feel a little activation in your thighs when you do that, and then releasing that, relaxing that. Noticing where the sides of the arms are connecting with the side of the body, where the hands are supported and resting. And any other parts of the body that might be making contact with itself or yourself. Might be the hair on your face, might be your clothing against your skin, the hands, the arms that are resting. And then notice the space between the legs if the legs are separated. Noticing the spaciousness at the front of the body, around your face, around the chest and the belly, tops of the thighs, the front of the knees, the shins, the tops of the feet. So that your awareness can move between where you're connecting, where you're supported, resting down, and where there's space around you, where there's energy around you, air around you. And then moving your awareness a little more internally, tuning in a little more fully, so that you start to become a little bit more aware of your breath as it comes and goes. Becoming a little bit more aware of the breath as it makes its way into the body, and the breath as it leaves the body. And you're just noticing for now, there's no efforts to change anything. You're just narrowing your focus, your awareness a little bit more, allowing it to rest in this ebb and flow of the breath as it makes its way in and as it makes its way out again. Becoming a little bit more aware of the energetic exchange, the rhythmic exchange between your body and your breath. So notice a gentle little dance, a gentle little movement in the body as the breath comes in. And then notice again as the breath leaves and releases, moves its way back out again. And you'll be sensing or noticing perhaps that on the inhalations there's an expansion in the body. The body lengthens very slightly as you press down into your seat, and the crown of the head lengthens a little more. It's a millimetre or so towards the sun, the sky above. The body expands to the front and to the back as the diaphragm moves outwards in all directions to allow space for the lungs to expand. And there's an expansion in the side of the body and a lengthening in the side of the body, again as the diaphragm expands. And you're taking those nice, long, slow, deep, full breaths all the way down into the base of the lungs. There's a movement around your belly. So gentle doming outwards, expanding outwards on the inhalations, and then gentle resting back towards center, softening back towards center on the exhalations. And lengthening on the inhalations, and a softening and moving back towards center with the exhalations. And as the breath, the final part of the breath makes its way into the body, the chest moves very slightly outwards on the inhalations and back towards the spine on the exhalations. You might even notice, particularly when you're sitting in the chair, that as you inhale, there's a slight lift in the shoulders, slight movement out of the hips, and then just a gentle contraction and movement back towards the base, back towards the earth as we exhale. So take a moment to notice whatever you notice in terms of movement, in terms of the rhythm and the flow of this lovely breath as it makes its way in and out of your body. And the movements are subtle, so we really do need to tune in to observe them, to become aware of them. We won't notice them when we're active in a day-to-day sort of way. They're too tiny, they're too discreet. Almost just shyly doing their thing in the background and allowing everything else to go on in the foreground. So allow your breath, allow this breath that's nourishing you, that's revitalizing you, that's feeding every part of you and bringing vitality and life into our body. Allow this to be the hero for the next little while, the next few moments. This single point of focus. And also being aware that your breath is your source of cleansing, purifying, detoxing on a physical level, but also the softening that comes in on the exhalations when the body releases and the muscles release to allow the breath to move out. It's not just cleansing on a physiological level, but it can also be a great source of cleansing by releasing tensions in the body, tensions in the muscles, cares, worries, concerns. So be curious about the breath, be grateful for the breath, and just honour it by paying it a little attention from time to time, and it'll honour you in return by giving you a moment of peace, of respite from the busy mind. So I invite you to set a sankalpa, an intention for your practice this morning. How would you like your practice this morning, your yoga practice, to support you mentally, physically, emotionally, energetically? What is it that you need right now? What is it that you need to support you and to offer you resilience? Or whatever might be going on in your day-to-day on a personal level, and then the wider context around us. Where can you take back a little bit of personal power, a little bit of personal control? So that about slowing down is about learning to be still, to tune in rather than needing so much external stimulus. Is it about getting to know yourself, your mind, your body a little bit better, maybe making peace with some aspects of ourselves? Is it about releasing tension on a mental, physical, emotional level? Bringing in a little peace, a little ease, a little relaxation into the mind, body, spirit. And that's as well as bringing a little flexibility into the body, supporting the joints and muscles through little activity. So let your sankalpa, your intention be broad enough to encompass all of your needs, all aspects of yourself. And then just let that fade into the background of your awareness, and trusting that you've paid attention to it, your energy as we go through the practice will follow the thoughts, will follow that sankalpa, that intention that you set for yourself, for your well-being. And that will help to bring it to be. So we'll take 2 or 3 nice long, full, deep, slow breaths together now. I'm going to invite them to be sign breaths before we start to bring a bit of movement into our practice. So I invite you to take a nice long full breath in through the nostrils, and if you find yourself congested, you can breathe through the mouth. You'll need to breathe through the mouth. When it comes to the release, sigh out softly and slowly through the lips. Take a nice full inhalation all the way in. And then sighing it out, releasing it out slowly and softly through the mouth. A nice long inhalation again, all the way in through the nose. And then sighing it out, releasing it out, letting it go. You can keep your eyes open or closed for the next few moments. We'll bring the shoulders up towards the ears as we inhale. And then exhale, roll back around behind us and drop. Inhale, lifting, rolling around behind us and dropping. Allow that to let the body release with a sigh, and then inhale, lifting, rolling around, dropping those shoulders. And then take a moment or two before you go any further, just to see what impact that may have had on the body. So we're going to continue to coordinate movement with breath. We're going to start with to coordinate movement with breath, and starting just with the head, with the neck. As you exhale next, allow your chin just to release towards your chest. You're not trying to connect, you're not trying to push the chin to the chest, you're not trying to force any contact, you're just allowing the head to release forward and the weight of the head to release towards the back of the neck, and lengthening through your cervical spine. Have an inhalation here. And when you exhale, you're going to allow your right ear to slowly drift towards your right shoulder. And the chin is still dropped, so you haven't lifted it. Don't force it, just allow the ear to move towards the shoulder. Don't lift the shoulder towards the ear, just allow the ear to move to wherever it goes. Have a breath out here. And then when you exhale next, take your left hand out to the side, lengthen it away to the side and slightly behind you as though you were trying to press against the wall behind you. And just feel that lengthening and stretching there into the left side of the neck. And particularly if you're holding tension here, you tend to feel this a little bit more fully. Release the hand. And on your next inhalation, nice and slowly, drift back, lie back with the head back towards the center again. Have a breath, have a full inhalation and full exhalation. When you inhale nice and slowly, lift the head forwards. Just have a moment to settle there. Let the head rest back on the shoulders, let the shoulders release. Take a nice full inhalation. See, is there a sighing breath to be accessed? Nice full inhalation again. And when the exhale is ready to come, we're going to take the chin back towards the chest. Pause here for another breath. When you're ready to exhale, this time your left ear is going to come towards your left shoulder. So keeping lovely openness and spaciousness across the chest, across the heart space. You're not bringing your right shoulder forwards. And then when you exhale next, take your right hand out to the side, press it out to the side as though you were pressing it slightly back against the wall behind you. Just activate the arm, activate the shoulder. And again, if you're holding any tightness in the neck, you'll feel it a little bit more fully on the right side now. And if you're not, it might just say that you're not holding tension or injury at that point. As you inhale, release the hand, release the head back to center. Take a nice exhalation. And when you're ready to inhale again, really nice and slowly lift your gaze forwards and come ever so slowly, because you may already be finding that your blood pressure is lowering a little bit, so you don't want to create any dizziness. Take a nice full in breath here. As you exhale, you're going to allow the head to start to drift over towards your left shoulder. If you run out of breath before you get there, pause while you inhale, let that be your refueling breath. And then continue again on your exhalation, all the way over to the coconut shoulder. Pause here again when you inhale. And then taking your elbows slightly back, just check, is there any space to look into? Can I be a bit more curious about what's behind me, or have I already reached my outer edge? And what would happen if I released my hand, if you release your hand towards the floor and drop your shoulder a little, does that free up any space? And if maybe it does and maybe it doesn't. So you're not trying to force anything, you're not trying to jam into a corner, you're just curious about what's available in terms of mobility. You're moving into whatever's there, and you're staying on the right side of any tension that you might find. When you next exhale, nice and slowly start to release back to center. And you might want to come back maybe in a couple of breaths. So pause on the inhalation if you're only halfway, and then continue to the journey on the exhalation. And if you're moving really slowly and really mindfully, that might take 2 or 3 breaths. So just take a moment here to breathe, to observe any sensations in the head and the neck and the face, any difference between the right and left side. How are you feeling in your body? Are you holding any tension in your arms, the hands, or the legs that you don't need to be holding? Would you let something go? And then we'll take a nice full inhalation, and when you're ready on an exhalation, you're going to start that nice journey over towards the right side. Again, move for the length of the exhale. Slower is better. Pause on the inhalation. Continue on the exhalation. And as many breaths as it needs to get you to the side. Pausing on the inhalation to refuel and the exhalation. And I don't really normally use words like better. I don't like words like better because it suggests something else isn't as good. But it's just that when you move slowly, it helps to make you a little bit more aware. So if you're at the outer edge now, you might take this action of releasing the right hand down towards the floor, which will release your shoulder a little bit. So does that free up a little bit more space for you to move in towards, or just hold here for a breath or 2 more. And then on your exhalation, start that slow journey back to center. So when we move slowly, we move mindfully, which means that we can pay more attention to the movement. We're more likely to notice any niggles, any aches, any pains, any points of soreness or tension, and avoid them moving into them. Then when we're moving quickly, and we can often just flick ourselves into discomfort without even being aware of it. So momentum sometimes takes away awareness, or takes away our ability to tune in and pay attention. So just maybe take a moment to give the neck a little release in any way that feels good. When you look to the sides again, you can play with whatever speed here feels better for you, just not too fast. And then release yourself back to a nice restful neutral place again. We're going to take our awareness now to our hands. So you can do this without the arms out. I tend to do it initially with the elbows close to my body, because this can become tiring quite quickly, and we're going to have to take the arms away from the body a little bit later. So you decide which you want for now, which feels nicer for you. Again, we want to make sure that we haven't accidentally started crouching or stooping forwards. So keep that nice length at the front of the body, so nice length between your heart center and your navel, your solar plexus, your paracenter. Personal paracenter is nice and open. So nice openness across your heart space. And we take the palms forward, so towards the ceiling, towards the sky. And as we inhale, we lengthen the fingers away. Exhaling, curling the fingers in towards the palm. So not making a tight fist, just allowing the fingers to curl in. Inhaling, lengthening, and be mindful of any soreness, any injuries, any carpal tunnel syndrome or arthritis, or anything that you might be managing here, if there's anything going on for you, so that you're just moving as is comfortable for your body, and don't fall into the trap of thinking no pain, no gain. Pain is just pain. You will not gain anything from pain in yoga. So always mind yourself, mind your body, stay on the right side. And we continue with this slow, mindful movement. So opening on the inhalations and then slowly closing on the exhalations. A couple more times. So if you can match the length of the movement, the length of time it takes to complete the movement, match the length of your breath. So that the start to the end of the breath syncs with the start to the end of the movement. Just rotate the palms towards the floor for a moment and have one or two of these little movements. And you might find that when you do it here, the fingers might move a little bit differently, they might move a little bit more, or maybe make more of a piano sort of fingers kind of movement. And then we're going to just take the palms either back towards the ceiling or in towards the center of the body. You won't sync your breath for this one because it requires you to breathe more quickly. We're going to bring a sort of starfish hands movement in here, and then get into the knuckles and get into the joints and the fingers with a little bit of releasing out here. It doesn't have to be too quick. Again, pay attention to your hands, your joints, what they're telling you. Listen to the feedback, pull away from it, do it slower, do it less, don't do it at all. See what the hands are telling you. And then a little bit of a piano movement. So just bringing a little movement, a little flexibility, a little release here into the hands. You can imagine yourself playing your favorite tune there, wherever it is. And then we'll rotate the hands back towards the ceiling. And as you exhale, bring your fingertips towards your shoulders, keeping the elbows bent. So we're just moving the wrists here still. We're bringing a lengthening into the front and backs of the wrists. When you inhale, lengthen the fingers forwards and all the way towards the floor. Again, work with your range of movement. Inhaling back towards the ceiling, back towards the shoulders, and then moving towards the elbows on an exhale. And then lengthening nice and slowly towards the ceiling, starting to tip away from you as the hands move towards the floor. Maybe you're moving towards your exhalation. So again, we're really slowing this down. Try to have the palms facing down. And then you're inhaling fingers up towards the ceiling, back in the direction of the shoulders. So waving out to the world and wave to each other. And then fingertips all the way up. And back down. And this time on the fingertips going to the ceiling, we're going to make circles now with the fingers so that we bring rotations into the wrist. So try to move half a circle for an inhalation, half a circle for an exhalation. And it doesn't really matter, so half a circle for an inhale, half a circle for an exhale tends to slow down the movement. If we were moving body and breath in harmony, generally on the inhalation we lengthen, we expand, we move upwards, and on the exhalations we contract, we release, we move back downwards. So if you're being really mindful and pedantic, maybe rather than mindful, the fingers will be coming down on the exhalations and up on the inhalations, but that can become a little bit stressful. We're going to take the opposite direction and I'm going to change the rotation to the other side. There's no point in trying to do that, getting muddled in your head and losing the benefit of just the coordination of body and breath if it brings us into our head trying to remember what we're doing. So half a circle for an inhalation, half a circle for an exhalation. And then we'll keep our fingertips towards the ceiling. And as we inhale, we lengthen the little baby fingers out towards the outer sides of the floor on the side of us. And when we're ready to exhale, we take the thumbs in towards the center of the body. So we're just really paying attention to the wrists and all of the different ways that the wrists move. It's quite functional movement here. Just giving them a little chance to release out tension. Nice and slowly in your own time, you're going to float your palms towards the ceiling. And as you inhale, lengthen your arms away from you, lengthen the fingers away from you. And try to avoid pulling your shoulders too far forwards, that's not necessary. So keep this lovely openness across your heart space. As you exhale, you're going to bend your elbows and bring the fingertips to your shoulders. And as you inhale, you're going to lengthen away. And exhale, close in. And you're going to inhale and lengthen away. You might want to take your arms out to the side a little bit more for that, or keep them forward, whatever feels nice for you. Closing in your exhalation, and then opening with your inhalation. Close on the exhale. See how slowly can you make it. Almost imagine that you're watching yourself in slow motion here, and opening. Lovely. And then we're going to take our hands down towards our thighs and the sides of your chair. As you inhale, you're going to roll your shoulders up towards your ears, nice and slowly. Back and around behind you. You can catch up in your own time. I always move slightly one step ahead so that you have something to follow. But never stop what you're doing, because I might have already moved on to the next thing. There's enough rotations and there's enough in everything for you to have plenty of time there when you reach it. And now we're going to come back from behind. We're going to take the shoulders back behind us, up towards the ears, and roll them forwards. If you find that a little bit tricky, you can help sometimes to take the fingers onto the shoulders and help use the elbows. So for this one, you would be, which way you would be coming down with the elbows, round behind you, up towards the ceiling, and then releasing forwards. And then back behind you, up towards the ceiling, and releasing forwards. And then we're going to go one more time the opposite way, so elbows will come forwards and out to the side, and then back behind you. And we're going to just release the hands there to the thighs. Close your eyes if you like. You're welcome to keep them open. And just have a couple of nice, long, slow breaths. Let them be sighing breaths, let them be everyday breaths, any kind of breath that feels nice for your body. Nice, long, full inhalation. And then releasing exhalations. We're going to move our awareness and keep your eyes closed for this. You could do it with your eyes open, so if you prefer, but I'm going to just take a moment with the face and with the eyes, because I think a lot of us are probably holding a lot of tension in the face at the moment. Maybe you have no idea or frowning or worrying, and tension can get kind of locked in and stuck here. So to come with me on this one, a little bit of a journey. As you inhale, you're going to make a big wide O with your mouth, like a lion's roar. And then wiggle your tongue around towards the back of the mouth in particular as you take in a few gulps of air. Take those lips as far apart, as wide into that O as you can, commit to. And then as you exhale, let it go. Sorry, I didn't sound very professional. Exhale. As you exhale, just let the mouth relax and go again. We're going to do that again. So a nice big O with lips. Wiggle the tongue around. Couple of gulps of air. And then on exhale, let it go. See if you can invite a yawn in. And when we do that, we're really stretching all of the muscles in the face, and we're broadening the muscles in the forehead as well. And now what I want you to try and do is I want you to imagine trying to smile with your forehead. So you can smile with your lips as well. It will actually help. Might help you to realize how silly you're looking, how silly I'm looking doing this, but also the power of the smile. So notice that when the outer edges of the lips tend to come towards the ears, which is what happens to the face with a smile, the eyebrows tend to follow. The outer edges of the eyebrows tend to move out towards the temples. And then that's almost like creates a spaciousness in the forehead, which is like a little bit of a smile in the forehead. And it relieves mental tension from the body. And then relax the face. Don't come back to a frown, but come back to a more neutral face. And just notice the difference there to the nice full inhalation. And then sigh out with your exhalation. Now just to see the opposite, and we won't hold it for very long, bring the eyebrows in towards each other. So you're frowning. Lips don't even have to fall, you probably already noticed the difference internally in your mood and how your body feels. Purse your lips. So a good cross face. And then let that go as quickly as possible and go back to the big wide O. The nice deep breaths, the smiling forehead, the smiling lips, and then side out softly, let it go. And see if you can land with a relaxed face with either a neutral forehead and maybe a gentle smile on the lips. Generally, when we relax our jaw, the lips soften a little bit and we move towards that kind of gentle sort of smiling, even if it's not a warm smile or an inner smile. So just releasing some tension there in the face. And the eyes, we're spending a lot of time on screens at the moment. We're spending a lot of time watching the television and the news and maybe reading a little bit more, and I think our eyes are possibly working a little bit harder at the moment than they might normally have to do. And that can be tiring. It can be mentally tiring, it can be physically tiring, it can be tiring for the eyes. Now, not everybody is comfortable with this particular exercise, so if it's not for you, when you start to try it, either with the eyes open or with the eyes closed, then just relax the eyes and maybe just take your awareness back to your breath. So we're going to imagine that, I usually do this with my eyes closed lying down, but we're going to imagine I'm going to try with my eyes open today, and you can try whichever way you prefer. Imagine that you're looking at a clock, and we're going to move our eyes around as though we were following the hours on the clock, as though the hand on the clock is moving around, and that's going to bring a rotation into the eye muscles. So looking at, gaze straight ahead of you at 12 o'clock, and then move both of your eyes to 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and 12 o'clock. And notice that you lose your focus along the way. Did you lose attention? Don't worry about it too much if you did. We're going to go back now anti-clockwise. So we're going back to 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock, both eyes following, 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 12 o'clock. Now I use my finger there to almost direct my gaze. You don't want to go too quickly with it. I do go too quickly with it and feel a little bit nauseous. And then back to center again. Close the eyes, and then with the eyes closed, lower your gaze towards the floor, towards the earth. Keeping the eyes closed, and of course you can have them open if you prefer. Raising your gaze without changing the direction of your chin or your face, lift your gaze towards the ceiling. And as you exhale back towards the floor with that gaze, with the eyes, inhale back to a neutral point, so almost the middle diameter of imaginary clock. And then as you inhale, take both eyes, your gaze out towards 3 o'clock. Exhale back to center. Inhale, take both eyes out towards 9 o'clock. And back to center. And then you can open your eyes and see what they want to do. Do they want to blink? Do they want to open really wide? Do they want to close a little bit? And just check in that you're not holding any tension in the forehead. If you are, just soften it out, bring that smiling forehead back into action. Smiling your lips will help with that. Take a nice full inhalation and exhalation. And that might be something just, you might even find that after you're a bit tired or a little bit sleepy. So it can just be a way to have to slow down the mind, to slow down the brain. If it wasn't for you, if you didn't like it, I used to particularly not enjoy that exercise. I got used to it over time, and quite helpful now sometimes, but don't make yourself do it if it makes you feel uncomfortable anyway. So we're going to bring our awareness now back down towards the lower part of the body. We've looked after pretty much the entire upper part of the body in terms of joints. We've got the fingers, the wrists, the elbows, the shoulders, the neck, the face. It's not really a joint, but we have things like our jaw, which is the joint here. So we've taken our wide O with that. We'll just do it again. And then relax and let the lips come back together. And always checking in that your jaw is nice and relaxed, is nice and soft, because it tends to be a bit of a busybody. And if your jaw is tense, your face will tense. And if your face tenses, your shoulders will tense. And it cascades through the body like dominoes. So keeping a nice, soft, relaxed jaw is a really good way to help to make sure that your body doesn't follow tension. So we're bringing our awareness to our legs, and we will start off with our toes. So I'm going to just push my legs a little bit further away from me for this. I'm going to sit very slightly forwards on my chair so that I can lean back into it a little bit more. You just get yourself to a point where you're comfortable, where your spine remains nice and long, where you remain quite supported with the back, but where your legs, now you can do this with your legs at that sort of 90-degree angle that the chair gives us, but you want to be able to move your ankles forwards and backwards, and if you find that your feet are too close to the floor, that might be tricky. So legs extended forwards does help. I'm going to come up onto my heels first of all, keeping the legs relatively soft. Just going to tip my toes forwards as I inhale. And when I exhale, I'm going to invite the toes back towards the shoulders. So tipping forwards on your inhale, don't cramp the toes, don't squish them too much. And then back towards the shoulders on your exhales. Tipping forwards on the inhales. And back towards the shoulders on the exhales. And once more gently forward on the inhales. Nice slow gentle movement and back towards the shoulders on the exhales. And then you can do this with one leg at a time or both legs together, depending on what your body is happier to facilitate. It requires a slight lift of the heels. I'm going to tip my toes and the fronts of my feet forward, so that I'm lengthening through the fronts of my ankles. And when I exhale, the toes will come back towards my knees, back towards my hips. Lengthen forwards on your inhalations, and again, length of breath to length of movement as much as possible. Keep sinking. And toes back towards the chest, and that's S-Y-N-C, sinking, as opposed to S-I-N-K, you're not sinking. You're all floating and doing just fine. So toes back towards the shoulders, and then lengthen away in your inhalation. Come back to a neutral point, so you can rest your heels again. As we inhale, we're going to take the toes out to the side, and as we exhale, we're going to bring the toes back towards center. Inhaling out to the side, and toes back towards center. Inhaling out to the side, and toes back towards center. And then again, one at a time, with both legs together, we're going to make circles then with the toes, so that we bring a rotation into the ankles in the same way that we did with the wrists. So half a circle for an inhalation, half a circle for an exhalation. Now you be curious about which way your ankles want to go. Mine tend to be happy to go to kind of do the same thing at the same time. So I'm moving outwards with both of my feet at the same time. But some people like to go in the same direction, so that as your feet are going to the right, both feet are going to the right and vice versa. And it really doesn't matter, it's just whatever feels nice for you, but be curious about what your body likes to do. And then bring that the opposite direction again. Half a circle for an inhalation, half a circle for an exhalation. Again with the ankles, being mindful of all of the joints. If you have any swings with your hips, not your hips, your ankles. Your hips and your ankles tend to do their own thing. But be mindful of any arthritis or any just stiffness or tightness there. Gently towards it, but not through it. And when you're ready, you can just release the feet back to the floor that blocks the supports, whatever you have there beneath you, your books or whatever you might be using. Just close your eyes for a moment, take a nice full inhalation and exhalation again. And notice whatever you notice. in terms of what your body is doing, in terms of what your body is happy with at this time. So notice any sensation, any soothing, any sense of calm, any sense of busyness, whatever you might be noticing. We're going to bring our awareness now to our knees and to bring the movement into the knees. Just one leg at a time. You can either lift your leg just kind of a free flow or a free lift there, or it can be helpful to support the thigh. It doesn't matter whether you're going with your right or left leg. I'm going with my left at the moment. And as we inhale, you're just going to lengthen forwards, pointing the toes. Exhale, bring the toes back down towards the chair, and then slightly back under the chair. So you're just getting, again, as much of an extension, a lengthening, and movement as your knee wants. So you might only want to come to here. You might not want to come back very far at all. So be aware of your knees, whether they're one of the parts of the body. For a lot of us, we kind of get into our 40s plus, the knees can be a little bit temperamental. Earlier, if you're a sports person, and things like arthritis come in and other difficulties come in here as well. So be gentle always to your knees. And then we're going to make, so you can take one leg maybe slightly a bit wider, a big wide circle with your big toe, so that you're almost bringing a little rotation here into the whole area of the knee. So when we think about the knee, often we think about the kneecap, but there's a whole other structure there. And this is just a nice way to give your thigh a little bit of a release, a little bit of a workout, but also going around in the opposite direction, so change your rotation. Again, slow it down, half a circle for an inhalation, half a circle for an exhalation. Now, because you're holding your thigh up here, maybe you could do this with your, if you had enough space between your foot on the floor, you could maybe do it without holding the thigh up, but generally most people will benefit from a little bit of elevation there. But because it's, take that foot down, have a breath for a minute. Because it's the knees, and because your thigh is engaging here as well, it can be a bit more tiring, so you might go slightly faster than half a circle from your breath for that one. Forgive ourselves with that. So I'm going to hold on to my thigh here again, and I'm going to lengthen out here with my leg just to bring a little bit of activation into the hamstring. So tip through the heel, toes back towards the shoulder. Now this would be a good one for your belt if you feel yourself a bit more effortful, or you want a little bit of extra support with it. Pick up your belt support, whatever it might be, across the toes, across the ball of the foot there, from the ball underneath the big toe across to the baby toe, and then either hold on with both hands on one hand, whichever feels nicer, to give you that lift. And keep the knee soft, press through the heel, and bring the toes back towards the shoulder of the chest. So the hamstring's not a joint, but when we're doing these exercises, we're releasing the joints. So this is a joint releasing series. It's called Padmanutasana. And when we're doing this, we're paying particular attention to releasing out tension that's stored and trapped in the joints. And this is one of the main reasons, or one of the many reasons, why we get so much injury in our joints, because we hold a lot of tension and tightness there. Now, there's other reasons, there's inflammation, and there's lots of other things that can go on. We can actually physically have injured ourselves. But a lot of the time, it's that the tension that's stored in the muscles is more of an opportunity to be released from the body than the tension that we store in our joints. Between each of the joints, there are lots of muscles and cartilage and connective tissue, and so we can just take this opportunity to work with the hamstrings. So you can just work on that, and you might just bend the knee and straighten it for a breath or two. It's also a way to bring a little movement into the knee if you want a little bit of support with it, a little bit more stability. And then we're gonna, and you do this with or without the belt, we're just gonna give ourselves a little hip opener here by, as we inhale, and keep the shoulder back. So if you're on your left leg, keep your right shoulder back, the shoulder that's on the side of the band. Coming out to the side, whilst keeping the body forward, so we haven't turned ourselves sideways. And then as you exhale, nice and slowly, you can guide it back towards center. And you're getting a little bit of an opening, a little bit of a release here for the hip. But also what you'll notice is there's a little bit of activity there for the arms. Inhale, open, lengthen out as far as you like to go. I keep my heel extended here, pressing through the heel rather than pointing the toes, but if you want to do it the other way, have a go. You're also getting a thigh stretch here. And back to center, nice and slowly. See how we go with that. Lovely. Taking one more time, nice flow out to the side. Moving nice and slowly here as well, so you don't accidentally trip yourself with momentum into any tightness or injury. And then back to center. And then bend the knee. Take your belt onto the inside of your knee and your inner thigh, and maybe think about bending the heel in towards the center point of the chair. Or you could take either side of the belt around either side of the knee here, and maybe use your hand to lift that heel very slightly, so that you're bringing an extension, you're bringing a hip opening movement here into the hip. So we've gone from here, and now we're sort of going to this kind of shape with it. Again, you're going to work with your own range of movement there, your own range of mobility. And then we're going to lengthen the leg out again. And then back to center. And as we exhale, you can bend your knee. Take a moment or two now just to notice the difference between right and left side. And the other way that you can get that hip opener there, if you're going to practice it at home, is with the belt on your foot. And then you use the belt to make sure your ankle is nice and supported there, to just help to elevate maybe the ankle across your knee, so you get a little hip opener here. Again, we're dropping the leg from here out to here. You might be something like this with it. So you have some options to play with there when you're at home with this. We're going to move to the other side. Leave your belt there for now. And think about the leg and the knee on the other side. So I'm going to start just by lifting the leg, supporting my thigh, point my toes, and as I inhale, I'm going to straighten that leg out. And as I exhale, toes come back towards the floor. You can do this on your back as well, on the floor or in bed. Okay, doing a few exercises in bed at night. Just nice and slowly releasing out the knees there. So opening and lengthening on your inhalations and closing on your exhalations. Generally after this sequence, we're going to make our circles now with the big toe to bring that sort of rotational movement towards around into the knee joint. Generally with these movements, you tend to release lots of trapped energy in the body, in the muscles and the joints in particular. We take it around in the opposite direction. And afterwards, the effect often is just a nice sense of release in the body. Because we're coordinating our body and movement and breath, we're paying attention to what we're doing, it tends to take us out of the head for a little while. So I'm going to press through my heel here to extend my hamstring. And this is where we would have taken the belt into play last time on the other leg, so we can do that here too. So you can hold on to the strap by your side. On both sides, keep your knees soft, never ever lock your knee. Press your heel away, toes back towards the shoulder. You really don't want to stress your knee joints because it's harder to recover from injury in the knees than anywhere else. So kind to all of your joints, but pay particular attention to the knees because they're the ones that tend to kick up when we mistreat them. And then we might think about bringing a little bit of a hip opener into this as well. As we inhale, and slowly lengthen out to the side. So that just brings quite functional movement. Inhale back to center. If you think if you're walking and you have to move your foot out to the side for something, that's what you would be doing. Across, lengthening across, your arm and your shoulder engaged here as well. And then really nice and slowly back to center. Opening on your inhalation. And then closing on your exhalation. Chair for this one. Bend my knee, and I get this so it's comfortable across the ball of my foot. Bend my knee, take the spear in towards the groin area, towards the centre of the chair, and then maybe not use the stand across here to just give you a little bit of a supportive opening. You might prefer to take it on your side and maybe hold on to give you that little bit of an opening. And you don't have to have that at all if that doesn't suit your hips. So for you it might look like this, or it might just be barely off centre. For somebody else, I don't have the kind of knees that fall to the floor when I'm in a butterfly pose, but for somebody else then you might be all the way out over there. So it's really about your body type and respecting your body type, and then we're going to lengthen that leg away and come back to centre. And release that foot to the floor. You can release your belt. Take a moment to sit, to take some nice deep breaths. Have side to side, feel nice. Release your chin to your chest for a moment. Lower your gaze. As you exhale, bringing your right shoulder towards your right ear, nice and slowly. Releasing forwards back to center on the next inhalation. Left ear towards the left shoulder on your exhalation. And in your own time, on an inhalation, nice and slowly raise your head and chin, coming back to a neutral position here as well. I'm going to just take a couple of more movements here just to bring the lengthening into the side body. So look at your joints here. I kind of think the waist is almost like a bit of a joint kind of structure because it allows us a rotation and movements back in different directions. It doesn't allow us a forward movement. It definitely allows us a sort of three movement forwards here in the torso. I'm going to bring a little lengthening into the side body, and we'll use the belts for this because we have them handy. And just make sure if you do have anything that has a buckle on it, it's not dangling, so it won't whack you in the face. Maybe fold your belt in two, maybe two again, because you really just want to be holding it so that your hands are shoulder distance apart. You don't need a whole lot of length on it. So as we inhale, we're going to bring the arms up towards the ceiling. Lengthen through the arms, release the shoulders back towards the waist so that you haven't bunched up at the ears, which we tend to do. And then on an inhalation, you're going to lengthen out of your waist and take your torso to the right side. And just feel, so this right hand is gently pulling to the right side, the left hand is gently pulling away, so that you have this kind of resistance in between, and then we get this nice supported lengthening inside body. You inhale back to center whenever feels good, and then exhale really slowly out to the other side. And this time, the left hand is guiding, leading, the right hand is following, but it's not collapsing on top of it. It's keeping its distance. It's keeping its 2 meter distance because it's socially conscious. And inhale back to center. And exhale to the other side in your own time, nice and slowly. Inhale back to center. So your arms and your shoulders are also getting a little bit of work here. You'll feel maybe your face warming. Inhale back to center. And then exhale forwards. All the way back to the thighs. Where you can release your belt. Take your shoulder blades back towards each other. Have a nice opening here across your heart space. And we're going to take a little, I'm just going to come sideways in my chair so I can demonstrate this. We're going to take a little seated cat-cow here. So what you want to avoid is overly puffing out your rib cage and then overly arching your lower back when you're feeling a strong pull onto your abdomen here. So what we want for our cat pose is as you exhale, Allow your shoulders to move forwards, slide your hands along your knees and allow that rounding in your upper back as your gaze comes to look between your legs. But don't overly collapse your chest to your navel, just really is moving towards the floor in front of you. And then when you inhale, you're going to take your shoulders nice and wide, your shoulder blades back towards each other. Send your heart space up, your heart center up towards the sky, so that you get a little rounding in your lower back as you would do in your cat-cow, or a little flexing of your lower back as you would in your cat-cow. We're going to release forwards on our exhales. So we're not collapsing forwards, we're not sliding forwards, we're just releasing the shoulders forwards, arching towards the chest. And we're not collapsing back into our waist. And then inhale, open, and have that nice little opening, gentle back bend there. Exhale forwards, and inhale, open. And then a nice way to do that as well, you can bring the hands into a little bit more. So that's a nice way to do it, slide the hands along the thighs. There's a bit of auto massage there. And a nice other nice way to do it is, as you go into your counter cat or your cow, you roll your palms forwards. You allow your shoulder blades to come back, let your gaze lift towards the ceiling. And then as you come towards your cat, you release your hands forwards, you allow that rounding of the shoulders, you can look your gaze to the floor, opening on your inhalations into your counter cat, your cow, and then once more on your exhalations, releasing shoulders forwards. And then inhale back into a nice neutral position here. I'm just going to finish with a twist. So sit yourself forwards on your chair, which you probably already are, about halfway, so you want to feel nice and supported. And nice length, so tailbone rooting, shoulders open, space across your chest. Make sure that you're not tipping your diaphragm out. Diaphragm is towards the earth so that you're not overarching your lower back and you have this nice opening in the chest. And then you'll take your left hand to your right knee. You'll take your right hand towards the ceiling. Imagine that you're opening a jar as you go around and start to take that hand out to the side so that your navel is starting to move out to the side. And then as you exhale, connect with your chair. So hold on to the side of the chair and the back of the chair. When you inhale again, root down and rise up, lengthen through the spine. When you exhale again, you're inviting your diaphragm, you're inviting your thoracic spine into the movement by gently inviting the left side of the body to move towards the right. But you're not following with the shoulder, so you use your left hand and right knee to move against each other to give you a little bit of that resistance there. And then maybe on your next breath, you might like to root down and rise up in your inhalation and look around over that shoulder on the exhalation. You can go as deep into that as is comfortable for your thoracic spine, as is comfortable for the waist, inside of the body. Just start the most comfortable if you're just eating recently. And then when you're ready, on the exhale, come back to center. Take a nice full inhalation. And exhalation. And then take it to the other side. So your right hand will come to your left knee. With the space across your shoulders. And then we lengthen the left hand towards the ceiling. Imagine that you're opening your jars. The hand comes to the side initially. Lift and lengthen out of your waist when you exhale. And just turn initially your navel towards the direction of that hand is moving. Allow the hand bend to meet the chair. So either the side of the chair, or if you're comfortable to take you can sit back a little more, take the arm behind you. You'll lift and lengthen. And as you exhale, you're inviting your right diaphragm to turn towards the left side. Inhale, lift and lengthen. And then maybe you're turning your chest a little more into it to look over the left shoulder. So see how you go with it. But don't strain your neck and don't overstretch your chest. Nice one. Inhalation, lift and lengthen. And then exhale. Back to center. Nice and slowly. Press down with your sit bones, lift out of your waist. And as you exhale, we're going to lengthen forwards, hinging from the hips. Sorry, that was my belt forming. Belly towards the thighs. Take the arms out behind you. You can hold on to your chair, and you might just want to have a little bit of a chair playing movement here. Inhale, lengthen out of the waist, transfer to forwards. Exhale, belly towards the thighs. And then hold on, inhale, lengthen forwards. Exhale, belly towards the thighs. Release the arms to the hands. Release the chin to the chest. Lengthen there. Through the neck. So you can release as much as is comfortable here. If you have a headache, if you have vertigo, if you have anything that you're minding, tinnitus, anything like that, maybe you might not want to drop your head fully, but you can release your shoulders. Have one more full inhalation here. Slowly exhalation. Nice full inhalation, and let that inhalation lengthen you forwards. Let your hands meet your shins and all the way up to your thighs. Give yourself a little bit of contact, so we can't always connect with others at the moment, but we can connect with ourselves, and then exhale. Physically connect, and we can connect with others. Like we're connecting this morning, we can connect on phone and chat, we can connect by chatting at a distance, people outside your household. But you can always connect with yourself, so don't forget to give yourself those hugs and those little pressure massages and contacts. Take a nice slow inhalation here, and a sighing exhalation. So we've come to the end of our movement practice this morning. We have worked through all of the joints in the body and a lot of the muscles, most of the muscles as well. So giving them a chance to lengthen, stretch out and release in case of the muscles, and the joints a chance to be mobilized. And motion is lotion for the joints, or so we believe in yoga. So get yourself ready for your Shavasana, for your relaxation. So it's not a full Shavasana. You can lie on your sofa if you want to go lie on your sofa, so long as it's not too slouchy. Or you might want to just get yourself comfortable in an armchair. You might want to stay in the chair that you're in and just pop your feet up on something. Or take a couple of minutes to get yourself into wherever you want to be for relaxation. And don't worry about whether I can see you or not. Don't worry about it. So long as you can hear me, that's all you need. I'm going to go and get the music, change the music to what I usually play at the end of class for the relaxation, which is Jack Harrison and Sarve Shan, everybody's favourite. Take any little stretches, any little wiggles, any little movements that your body might be asking you for at this point. So when you start to stretch, when you start to open up, when you start to lengthen and release, your body will start a conversation with you and start telling you what it wants, what it needs. And I encourage you to pay attention to that, to listen to that. So for now, we're going to move towards stillness. Get yourself nice and warm. And allow yourself to settle. Allow the body to move towards stillness with any little wiggles, any little adjustments that it would appreciate along the way. Allow your awareness to move back inwards to a more internal connection. Just checking in, how are you feeling right now? How is your breath feeling right now? Is your breath feeling a little longer, deeper, slower, fuller than perhaps before you sat down this morning for practice? Can you allow your breath to guide you for the next few minutes? Can you float with your breath? Can you flow with your breath? So relaxing your jaw, softening the mouth, the lips, the tongue, the forehead and the space between the eyebrows releasing, the scalp releasing, the neck releasing, shoulders, biceps, elbows, forearms, wrists, hands and fingers all releasing. all settling, relaxing and letting go. Relaxing your chest, front and back, your belly above and below the navel, the entire region of your lower back, your hips, your pelvis, your glutes, all just releasing out, trusting into the supports beneath. Allow you to sink a little further towards stillness, quiet peace and ease. Letting your legs be relaxed, be heavy, let them roll out in any way that feels good. Softening and relaxing around the knees, the shins and calves, ankles, the soles and tops of your feet. All of your toes, effortless, releasing, letting go. Let your awareness sink a little more fully inside into a place within that's perhaps quiet, calm, easy. Most of us can access some little pocket of peace within, some little part within that's calmer than the rest, that we can rest into. Imagine almost like resting into your favorite chair, your favorite armchair or sofa at the end of a long day. You might like to visualize a place where you feel safe and content and at ease. It might be your garden, it might be by the sea, it might be a place in nature, it might be where you do your art, or just some place where you connect, where you settle and connect inwards. Maybe imagining yourself there as you continue just to breathe, to be soft, to be effortless, just to be for now. Nothing to think about for the next few minutes, nowhere to be for the next few minutes. Just be at one with yourself. If anything comes up or comes in to distract you, gently, lovingly guide your awareness, your attention back to your breath, back to this quiet, safe space within. Just allow yourself to be soothed or soothed and bathed in a little calmness within. Connecting in with your strength, connecting in with your resilience, your well-being, your creativity and flexibility, your humor, all of those relationships. Knowing that love and relationship will survive. Allow yourself to move from moment to moment. Just to be. Allowing your breath to be nice and long, deep, slow, and full. And you're at home now, so you don't need to rush. You don't need to, if you're in a place where you're nice and connected and grounded and easy, effortless, you can stay there. You can take as long as you need to come back into your day. You have plenty of time to do that. When you do decide to return, you do decide to come back into your day, come back slowly and quickly, with little movements, little trickles of movements, little flows, maybe fingers and toes, and mini joint releasing series. So just let the toes speak to the ankles and the ankles feed back to the knees and the knees to the hips, so that you have a gentle awakening, you have gentle movements. You find yourself back in your day, completely effortless, easy, coming back with an attitude of hopefully ease and a bit more relaxed, having let go of a little bit of tension. And the practice will be available to you to repeat as often as you like for the next little while. There are other practices available as well. So I'd encourage you to, for the next little while in particular, when things are stressful, when you're under pressure, maybe when your routine is being disrupted and there's some uncertainty, if you could take a few minutes every day just to breathe. So you might already even listen to the beginning of a class for meditation. If you could, 2 or 3 times a week ideally. A little bit every day would be great, but maybe not so realistic. But 2 or 3 times a day where you could take yourself into such a deeper stillness. And it doesn't need to be stillness, there can be movement, but I suppose coming out of the mind and into the body and then settling in the body. Just would be really great for your resilience, for your mental health, for your emotional well-being, and also it'll support your immune system as well. So keep yourself nice and happy and easy and safe until we see each other again. Be safe, be well, take care of yourself. Stay. See you. Don't